Ready?
Even odd, roll a caller.
I'll take even. I guess I rolled it and
You got
called
it.
Sorry.
Chalice on 1 getting Force of Negation pitching Murktide.
Good.
Bobble myself, says Kaplan. Then sacking a Flooded Strand. Showing the Pyroblast was on top of the library and is completely useless, so the fetch makes a lot of sense here. Having Pyroblast in the main against mono black curses, not helpful.
Pass, draw.
Okay. My turn?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure what was happening. Okay.
Fetch.
Thanks.
All right. So my turn now. Kaplan drew his card off Bobble.
And Volk, DRC, pass to you.
Not bad.
This deck.
There's a Swamp. Trinisphere. All right. Welcome to a Days there. Dragon's Rage Channeler the follow-up.
I'll take one.
Pass to you.
Curse of Leeches.
Here's Curse of Leeches.
Sorry.
Kaplan having a read. When it's daytime, it's a curse that says drain you on your upkeep. When it's nighttime, it's a 4/4 life linker. Everybody knows what this card does, right? Do I have to explain this? Curse of Leeches, everybody. Everybody knows this card.
Three.
You all know it by heart.
Worth it if that's what ends up happening.
Pass turn. Trigger. Lose life. I gain life.
Yeah, okay. I will play.
All right, there's the drain. Looks like Kaplan is close to Delirium. 3 types currently in the yard, attacking for 1.
I will.
And a fetch into Murktide. Quick plug for everybody watching. If you're not in our Discord, join our Discord server. Everyone welcome to join. Come hang out with us. Links are down below. If you're watching live, you can hit !Discord in the chat to grab the link. That's it. Just a quick plug. Murktide is a 5/5.
I'm gonna brainstorm, double surveil.
Yep.
Leave that on.
There's Urborg. Last, thanks for the follow. Welcome. Earl Boric says, Chris, what's your favorite curse you play in this deck? I mean, Overwhelming Splendor against so many archetypes is just lights out. Game over. And I love it. Here's Curse of Misfortunes getting cast here.
Okay.
Past you.
Wasteland, waste your that
Sure.
one. I don't.
Good.
No, I'm not even close.
Nope.
And it resolves. Seeing an upkeep Pyroblast for a Surveil. Puts Daze into the graveyard. And now the Curse of Leeches trigger, which was actually supposed to happen already, but we did it in the wrong order. Attacking now with a 1/1 Dragon's Rage Channeler, it looks like, and a 5/5 Murktide. Wasteland now taking out Urborg. Kaplan hoping to force me to use my Ancient Tomb to lose life. Curse of Misfortunes trigger. Still day. Overwhelming Splendor would potentially make that Murktide a 1/1 with no abilities, but several +1/+1 counters on it. Correct. Exactly. It would still have +1/+1 counters on it. There is Overwhelming Splendor, which will do exactly what Coco in the chat just mentioned.
I mean, Meltdown is a pretty good card here.
I know. I thought maybe I should
Coca, I should say.
play Chalice or something.
It'll be a 1/1 with no abilities, and the counters that are on it will remain.
Yes, zero cards. This goes away. Chandra.
All right, so pass the turn, and now it becomes night. So I have a 4/4 life linker. And the creatures don't have flying, so I can currently block the 3/3 Murktide with my 4/4 life linker. As it stands right now, that's my plan.
And bolt your Chandra
That works.
to you.
Okay. I'll take two.
Sorry, I just want
Two more. Thundering Rising.
I don't even.
Okay, I think what's happening right now was a judge call at the next table, and Dave and I got involved. So a little bit of a transition there. I skipped ahead past that. That was a minute or two of discussion. Here's Delver of Secrets and a Misty Rainforest, which cannot be activated currently. Gustav says, what's the name of that curse that flips at day or night? It is Curse of Leeches. Curse of Leeches.
What?
And now Curse of Misfortunes is triggering on my upkeep. And we're finding Death's Hold, which gives all creatures Kaplan controls -1/-1. So Murktide will live since it's a 3/3, and it'll now be a 2/2. And the Delver and Dragon's Rage Channeler are gone. So I was thinking about attacking here. And opted not to. It might have been better to attack. I was thinking if Kaplan has a bolt to finish off my my 4/4 and trying to block bolt it, I can instead make him use that mana on his own turn, but also the following turn, as we're seeing right now, I'm able to just find Cruel Reality, and the Murktide is just no longer an issue. And that ends the game. Now, I'm going to point out before we start this game, too, that it's unfortunate that we only see our hands and the playmats and the cards on the battlefield, and not our faces, not our body language or anything like that, at least not completely, because things get interesting in this game. I'll just say that.
And I will follow you.
Well, that's
Draw during your upkeep.
again.
Bobble and draw during my upkeep.
Well, sir.
Almost every deck
Perfectly.
got him.
Chromox comes down. Exiling Overwhelming Splendor, which I usually side out in this matchup, but I left it in for game 2. And a Chalice on 1. How does Curse's matchup come out against lands? Any deck with Dark Depths, Force of Vigor, Beseiju. Those are not cards the Curse's deck want to play against. So now, okay. And this is what I was mentioning before we got started. Kaplan, Mind Control, Poker Face, slammed Dragon's Rage Channeler right into my Chalice on 1 and got me. And if I'm not even making a joke here, but if I were to pick somebody I know that with everything on the line can resolve a 1-drop with a Chalice on 1 on the table, it's Kaplan. So smooth with those kind of plays, and I see it as a skill rather than I mean, obviously I made a mistake, but these are things that are kind of lost on Magic Online, or lost if I don't mention it. If I just say, "Oh, I missed my Chalice trigger," that doesn't really tell the whole story. But yeah. Is that not contrary to the rule? So I have to remember my own Chalice trigger, if that's what you're referring to. Here's Plague Engineer.
Okay.
And it's naming human, but the creatures are currently 3/3s. So the Chalice trigger is mine and mine alone. Kaplan is allowed to, by the rules, hold me to remembering my Chalice trigger.
Go ahead.
Scat play?
And yes, pointing out you can just run things into Chalice to get things in the yard for delve threats, which was probably part of Kaplan's plan, but Dave definitely smoothly slipped that Dragon's Rage Channeler right into play.
So he's a 3/3 now,
Yes. So still holdable, unfortunately.
but he doesn't get another.
No, just renowned once.
Helm of Obedience coming down here.
Go ahead, sure.
Or you kill that.
No.
But it's
Sorry.
2 damage, and then you gain 1, so it's 1 damage at a time.
Polluted Delta for Kaplan. Delirium DRC gets in for 3.
I'll pass to you.
This is like my first Legacy tournament back.
Two cards.
Since like, I don't know, I think I played with once when these guys opened back up for the first time.
2 mana.
But then I had too much stuff.
First misfortunes.
Curse of Misfortunes coming down here.
That's the searching one.
Tap 3.
I like
I'll do Rebel Master.
In response to that, I'm gonna pay 3 to cast Predict.
Force pitching Delver, putting a lightning bolt into the graveyard. Attacking for 2 with Plague Engineer.
Look at it. I'm gonna name
Passing the turn. Kaplan fetches down to 9, then to 8.
Of course.
Mystic Sanctuary targeting Force of Will to put it back on top of the library. That'll resolve.
One with both.
So that's on your upkeep?
This is your end step.
Okay.
Yep, sure, I will take.
Okay, this was all in my end step. Untap, upkeep.
Activate the helm for 1 target me.
Sure.
Put that force back into the graveyard. Helm mills the force off the top. Attacking for 2 with I think I was saying 3 for the DRC, but it's actually -1/-1. Attacking for 2. And I'm down to 1 now. Can't activate Ancient Tomb any longer. And that gets the scoop. So the sneaky DRC killed me in the end. Nicely played by Dave Kaplan. I personally like those kind of plays. He held me to it. And I think Dave Kaplan is just so smooth with those kinds of plays where, like I was saying before, he can just kind of trick you into missing your trigger. Poing didn't like the scoop there. All right, here's Dark Ritual.
When you ritual, cast Cabal Therapy, and
Chalice
then
on
you
one?
hit
Chalice on one. Another one. And a Brainstorm in response here for Kaplan.
Yeah, I would definitely. I've never heard of
you
it,
cast the Cabal Therapy.
One mana pool.
but that would be pretty much exactly.
I have one black mana floating from the Dark Ritual.
I guess like 3 rituals. I think I've done exactly one
No, because what's it called? You shall agree with the children of Corliss. You were at 1, then you went back up to 15.
Correct. Ritual.
Chalice on one resolves using the Ancient Tomb and the one leftover mana. Here's Trinisphere and it resolves. So Chalice on one and Trinisphere to start the game.
Go.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Here in, this is actually game 3. Forgot to update the score.
Leyline.
Tapping 4 and casting a Leyline of the Void. Vault of Whispers is the land with all the writing all over it. Back in the early 2000s when Mirrodin came out, I had a couple of artifact lands in my Affinity deck. Disciple of the Vault, Arcbound Ravager, Skull Clamp Affinity. When I was playing Standard at Neutral Ground back in the day. And I asked my younger brother to write messages on my artifact lands and a couple of my other cards. Let's see if I have that card in front of me here. I'll read to everybody what that Vault of Whispers says. Dave Kaplan, thank you for the gift sub. 63 on the channel for Dave Kaplan. Thank you. Thank you, Dave. Birthday boy, Dave Kaplan. So the Vault of Whispers says, enjoy the game from Andrew. Good luck. To opponent, you lose. That's the message from my brother Andrew back in 2001 or whatever.
So it's important to have something for that.
All right, here's a volcanic island. So now, I fetch for an island. So now Kaplan has the ability to melt down for enough to blow up Trinisphere. Let's see. Murktide instead. And it has one counter on it. So that's the end of Dave's graveyard. Oh, it has 2 counters on it. Excuse me. That's the end of Greg's, what am I saying? Dave's graveyard. It's all completely gone now.
3 cards in it?
Well, I could have gotten rid of your Archon.
Today.
So just fire it.
Just an absolute
But then, okay, like I could have. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I was only the Dover.
Curse of Misfortunes resolves. Can't really respond with Trinisphere on the table.
This is card
Tapped out.
that I really want to try out.
And then next turn.
It's like Murktide. It's an 8.
Attacking for 5, putting me down to 5. And a Ponder. Chalice trigger counters it. Again, Kaplan holding me to it. And the Curse of Misfortunes trigger on my upkeep. Cruel reality. The Murktide won't be around much longer.
Yeah, I did. 20 lands though. I'm not playing 20 lands. I'm never playing a basic mountain. I don't care how good it does. I'm not playing a basic mountain in Death Shadow. It's nonsensical.
Cruel Reality trigger dumps the Murktide straight into the graveyard. Straight into exile, I should say. And Kaplan passes the turn. Here's Curse of Misfortune's trigger once again.
Oh, I haven't. Oh, I do love Shy.
And it'll be Curse of Leeches, trying to gain some life back. At this point, I'm thinking the only way I'm going to lose this game is if Kaplan finds a Price of Progress. So the sooner I could start gaining some life, the better. Price of Progress, somewhat scary here. No longer interested in tapping these ancient tombs, I'll tell you that.
I'll be busting that out because they're not the blue black.
Dave Kaplan and I both 3-0, going for 4-0 here in Game 3. This is all really exciting.
Pass the turn. Comes night. Unless you have a player next to it.
Is it if anyone plays a spell?
Yeah, if all player. If all player. Stay right.
Discussing day and night, how that works. If a player casts a spell, it will not become night. Not just me. All right, so Dave opts to not cast a spell, and Cruel Reality trigger goes on the stack on upkeep. Dave loses 5 life and scoops it up. Good games, birthday boy Dave Kaplan. 4-0 with Mono Black Curse's Stompy Prison.